name is Mark Sawamura, and so I was kind of referenced in some of these previous talks that grandchildren provided for us. And I'm actually I'm actually the answer to a riddle. Who is the first addition and the last addition to the Masuda family? And this has been wonderful for me to listen to all these stories. I'm the same age as you guys. And to actually hear these stories and to hear how his passion and how his family meant so much to him. And now I'm drawn into this world, and it's just to hear these stories of what happened in the past, all these years that I missed, it's just been overwhelming. So thank you for sharing those stories. Now for me, I had this kind of weird arc, right? Weird life arc, where, as I told you, because of unfortunate circumstances, I was given up for adoption. And so I didn't really meet the family until I was actually over 40 years old. So, I'm, like I said, pretty new to this. And how this all happened was, I remember this, it was right after Memorial Day, and I get this email at work, and it's from this lady, and she says, what the email said was, we think you're the gentleman we're looking for. And it's from an adoption agency. Okay, so what's the first thing that pops in your mind? Someone wants my liver, my kidney, or my bone marrow. Okay? And I'm like, okay, I'm not ready for this. So waited a week, and I was like, am I ready for this? I mean, I had a family already. That's all I knew. And so I had a chance to really think about that. And it really was a big dilemma, right? Do I want to disrupt my life as I know it? And the more I thought about it, I said, you know what, here's a family who was looking for me, and I think at least I should, give them that opportunity to meet them. And so, once I made sure they didn't want my organs, I said, hey, you know what, let's go on and let's meet. So, what you're looking at right here is the Y chromosome version of Candace and Michelle. I know a lot of you guys have heard about me maybe. Some of you might have met me in the past. Maybe it's the first time you ever knew that I existed. That's okay. But I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So after I was put up for adoption, I actually grew up on the west side of LA. So I was really never probably in the realm over on this side in the San Gabriel Valley area. But interestingly enough is that as we talked, as we got to know Candace and Michelle, we found out that Candace actually lived like 2 miles away from me at one point. Michelle was always in Brea where we lived. My family used to go to Yamas when we used to go visit my cousins who lived in South Pasadena. So it's very possible they could have been the loud people in the next booth behind me. So anyways, so one day we decide, okay, we're going to meet up, and we go to, the meetup was at Candace's house. And so we have a picture of that. I'm sitting there outside the door going, like that, right? And I knock on the door, and we're greeted by the whole family's there, except the Cots. And we're like, where's Cots? And they go, not in the Benjo. Nope, not in the Benjo. Don't know where he is, right? So he comes in the house. I guess he was out at the store or something. He comes walking in the house, and the first thing he does to me is go, come here, right? And he gives me this huge bear hug. And from that point on, I knew I was part of this family. They're all huggers, apparently. Every single one of them. And they looked at me and they go, we don't need a DNA test. You're him. Okay, so to this day, I still don't know for sure, 100%. I still don't know. So, I think when we look at my life, it's kind of weird, right? Over growing up, I always thought, well, there's this nurture side and this nature side, right? And what contributes to what? And so, the nurture side on, growing up, I was probably raised a little more conservatively. My parents, dressed a lot more conservatively than Benny and Hans did. And that's all I knew. But I was also curious, right? I always knew I was adopted from my parents told me, my adopted parents told me from a very young age I was adopted. But they didn't tell me much. My mom said, I think your name was Gabriel or something like that. That's all she kind of knew, right? But I didn't know much. But I knew I was born in LA. And so it was kind of interesting, right? What was kind of the nature side of things, right? Where did that come from? And so I think, people, now you're looking at me going, well, who does he look like, right? And you're looking, okay, do I look like Kotz now? Maybe I do, okay? So, some people go, it's his legs. Some people go, it's that butt. And that butt of his dialed me a lot. And I'd get a phone call and it said, Kotz, right? You pick it up and you go, hello, Kotz. And all you hear is like Korean dramas playing in the background. You're like, okay, you hang up, right? But then there'd be times like all of you guys have talked about where he'd call, and he would just call randomly and say, hey, how are you doing? How's your mom doing? How's your sister doing? Right? I'm worried about you. It was never about, hey, I'm going to tell you all about what I did today. It was never about that. It was always, how are you doing? Right? And that caring nature that everyone has described with the previous conversations, everyone always talks about that, right? He's always wanting to know what you were about. And so that kind of goes along with, right, his personality. And, I don't know what I got from him, right? But I would say, compassion and caring is part of my persona in my work life. He had a chance of going to my work and meeting some of my coworkers. And what the first thing he said was, he is so funny, and he is really friendly. And was he part of the Yakuza? That's what everyone would say. And then we were prepping for this slideshow that you're going to see in a little bit. We actually have two versions. One is a short one we're going to have. The second one will be playing later, so make sure to watch those. But one of these things that I got a chance to do, because I never did this before, was to actually see these old photographs. And it's just stuff that I didn't get to witness myself, but as Alton, Stewart, and some of these people that preceded me talked about, was right this large family that he had. Right, all these people, they weren't necessarily blood related, but he considered them family. And you look at these pictures and you go, man, look at these guys. They're just like piling in these shag carpeted boogie woogie vans, driving up the coast. Did I miss that? I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I wouldn't miss that. But what everyone was always smiling. Everyone was having a good time, right? And to see this was just fascinating. Just picture after picture, right, of all these great events. And a lot of these pictures, you'll see, where are they sitting? Inside the family room on the couch, right? Everyone's on the couch having a great time. And so even, when we go over to the house and we meet people, right? It's a gathering place where all the Masudas and all the family friends are always there, and they just come streaming in and out, and it just, you can feel the sense of community. And then later on in his life, right, as he said, he decided at age 70, you know what, I want to put all my kids' names on my body. I want attention. And as Michelle, she knows, location is everything. So I think I put it to prime real estate back here. My name's right there somewhere. And my wife, Judy, he wanted to put her name on his body. And she goes, wait. Scott. There's some restricted zones. I do not want you to put my name on your body. So, anyways, in closing, I think when we look at these pictures, and it's one of the things I told the nephews and nieces here, is that we're going to see pictures today, and these pictures are going to bring back a lot of memories. And sometimes you're going to look at these things and they're going to make you cry. And that's okay. I told them it's okay. And as this darkness of ours that we feel today turns to light, these same pictures that we'll look at in the future will bring a smile to our face. And the reason is because it's Cots, right? And every time we saw him, he would bring this joy to us. And I think that's what we want to remember about him. So, in closing, one of the things that we also discovered, we were looking at his phone, and we actually found a picture of me when I was probably just born. And it was sitting in his phone. It's like, wow, that's pretty amazing, right? That he carried that picture around with him. And that got me thinking, is that rediscovering me and reuniting was really important for not only him but also for me, that we got to close this loop, that he went to heaven knowing that I didn't turn out to be like an axe murderer or something like that, right? I turned out to be a pretty decent person. He got to spend time with me, and at the same time I got closure on my own life as well. I think that was so important. So the greatest gift that someone can give is life. The second is going to be unconditional love. He gave us both of those things. So, what I'd like to say is, once I was lost, now I'm found. So please rest in peace. Thank you.